Manage My List. Within Manage My List here, you can see all the different clients. So I go into the client, oops, I went the wrong slide. Sorry. There's how the client is associated. This is that client URL that you got in the account invite. You plug that in, boom, you're hooked up to their service. You can put any address information. And if you look closely, this could be the foundation for some professional services and some things that you could do as add-ons or extensions to provide the capability to do billing for those clients. We don't have that in the account. How far do we want to take this? How far do you want to take this as a partner to provide those services as well?
Chad?
Yes?
As a numbers guy, how do you feel about the left justified numbers?
I feel about the left justified numbers. Interesting observation. I like them because I like to read left to right, and I like them always organized over there. But we could write justified, I guess. I've not ever had that question, so that's a good one. But the rest of this demo I showed you before, so I don't want to go too far. I think I'm a little bit over time. I need to give the platform guy a chance to speak as well. But there's a lot of integration here. Let me just go into this second page. That was client summary. This is client detail. With client detail here, the first time it takes a minute to spin up. Again, how did we get the information here? We're using the APIs. So because I'm an external accountant and I have the rights to their tenant, we can render that information directly here within the client summary. I can pull the trial balance. I can do all the Excel reports. And if I need to go work on behalf of that client, like I mentioned before, I could either save the hyperlink and just go into that client, or from the hub, I click this, you'll see that we actually, I did it wrong, sorry. I asked them to change it so that we went to the second page first, but I can go to company. Now we're actually launching the client's instance of finance and operation, logging in as the external accountant, and I am working in their tenant and doing all the work, getting logged against that, and so you have the audit trail that you need.
Is the accountant now a billable user?
Is the accountant,
Right, so are you paying $40 a month for that person? You have one?
you get one free external accountant per client.
Yeah.
So the second one would be a full user. Well, I'll take questions at the end, otherwise I do need to turn it over here to Klaus. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll be the platform guy. I split it in three. This is not all that we've done. This is what I thought I would perhaps touch on. And for all of these, most of these, there should be specific sessions on these items that you can go and learn more about. So let's get started with the database. I want to call out that we are, as you know, we're running a service, world-class cloud service. We said that in the keynote, and we really mean that. And many of the optimizations we're doing on the platform is actually to help us do that better. One of the things that we've put quite a bit of effort into is to move from databases with separate schemas, as we have today, to be able to run a single large database with a shared schema across tenants, like this. And we're doing that because as we run our service, we get a lot of tenants and we get a lot of databases that we need to manage. And that's a management overhead, and it's also an overhead in terms of cost for us. So we wanted to be able to consolidate our tenants into a single database, sharing the same schema. That obviously will roll out into Tenerife as well. So once you get your hands on those bits, you will have that as actually the only database that you will be able to run at that point in time. And it doesn't mean that you cannot run a single tenant in a single database. That will still work, obviously. But the schema will be looking a bit differently. Other changes. So company explaining is something that we have added as well. As you know today, our structure in the database is somewhat not optimal if you want to rename companies, create new companies. It's a cumbersome thing because we are actually creating like the company name, $, table name in the database. If you rename the company, we will rename all the especially if you're running a very large database with a lot of tenants in it, that just doesn't work anymore. So we've done that to help alleviate that. We have some changes to PowerShell here and there. I want to call out one because I think it's somewhat interesting. Right now, you have set nav server instance start, stop, and restart, and you can do things like set nav server instance stop, stop, start, stop, restart, start. And the outcome of that command would be unknown at best, or interesting. So we have named the commandlets appropriately after what they actually do. So it's start nav server instance and stop nav server instance and restart nav server instance to eliminate all confusion about what that actually ends up doing. Switching to the server. Again, back to our cloud service. We run a lot of tenants. We ship every month, and we upgrade all the tenants every month. Obviously, that could become problematic if we have enough tenants. Then we run out of time because upgrade takes time, right? So we looked at how can we eliminate the downtime and optimize the process of upgrading tenants. A tenant is down for a while upgrading. We can't really change that at this point in time. But we looked at where we spend time and how can we optimize that. And we primarily spend time in those 4 areas: schema synchronization, and in moving data around, and then priming and upgrading data, and then some administrative tasks that we have to do. So we looked at areas where we can improve, and if this is the downtime where the customer is actually offline during an upgrade, they cannot access their data, we looked at, are there any of the things that we do during an upgrade that we can do outside that offline window and move them either before the upgrade or after the upgrade. And lo and behold, there were actually stuff that we could move outside that window. We looked at if there are any tasks that we don't have to do during upgrade, but can do at any point in time, basically, and took that out of the offline window as well. And then we tried to optimize the things that we actually have to do during the offline window. Could we do them faster or differently to end up having less offline time? And that was also possible. And then obviously other things that we could do after and sort of drip in after we've taken the customer back online. And yes, there were things we could do there too. And you'll see what that means. It also means that we've imposed some things on the teams writing application code. For example, we do not allow breaking changes in the database anymore. So you cannot remove a table or a field in a table or a column in a table at this point in time. You can stop using it, but we are not removing it in our database because that takes a lot of time when we do that. And then obviously we have optimized for things that affect one tenant at a time. Using the shared schema, it's problematic if everybody is offline because we operate one. So we've optimized that as well. Obviously we can do schema synchronization while users are online. You should go next door, obviously. We'll figure out what they talk about after. The way we install and uninstall extensions wasn't optimal, and we changed that completely. So we're not rolling off and rolling on changes anymore. And the data upgrade can be done for one tenant at a time. And then to avoid ending up with tenants that were almost upgraded, whatever that means, this all has to happen in a single transaction. That if anything goes wrong, we'll roll it all back, and then you end up in the starting position again. so that we don't have the weird states of tenants after doing an upgrade that simply just doesn't work for us. And we'll get back to some more optimizations around upgrade. Dynamic change of server properties. So if we want to change the log level to diagnose something, it doesn't really work that we take the server offline to change that for that server and taking everybody connected to that server offline as well. So slowly we are going through the properties that we want to be able to change dynamically on a server without having to restart it. And right now there are only two, but more will come as we get through that list and start looking at what we need to run the service without having to take the server down. When we have these very large databases and want to upgrade them, one thing that we've seen is that we need to be able to connect one database to several versions of an application, so that some tenants are not upgraded and connected to the old version, and the ones that are actually upgraded will be running off of the new version of that application. And we've done some optimizations to be able to do that. And one is that an NST can take exclusive control of the tenant at this point, while we move the tenant from one to the other. And this is basically how it works. I won't go into details, but you will see a lot of optimizations for the service in the server and on the database side, which is somewhat different from what we usually ship in the server, but we're really aiming at running this at a very large scale with a very high uptime. I also want to point out that we still fix bugs. Yeah, we had the error level or the error messages or whatever it was, I don't remember now. But we fix bugs all the time, and we fix issues and improve areas of both application and platform. And at this point, we fixed 138 on the server alone, or improved 138 issues on the server alone. So there you go. On the client side, and I won't do demos because we showed that in the keynote, but you may know that you can switch profile and you can switch company now without having to log in and log out of the client. The most annoying thing when doing demos is that you have to log in again after switching company or doing anything. And by the way, for a non-NAV user trying out financials or finance operations, it's not obvious that what needs to happen when you create a new company and want to use that company. So we eliminated that. We also started working on personalization in the web client. Showed that in the keynote yesterday. What we didn't talk about was that it's a new type of personalization. So if you have personalization created in the Windows client, it will still show up in the web client, and we will not allow you to personalize that page or those pages immediately. You have to say, yes, I want to override what's already there, and then we will throw away the old personalization for that specific user and start from scratch. So those two types of personalization are actually not compatible at this point in time. So if you have deep personalization in the Windows client and want to use that in the web client, you can keep doing that. If you want to personalize in the web client, you're starting over. Very important point. And the UI of the client will clearly call that out and make sure that you know that you are taking steps to override personalization for certain pages. Finally, viewing and printing reports. We have made and are making optimizations on both web and device clients to allow you to print and preview reports as PDF in the client, within the client, embedded in the client, and not in a window that shows PDF files. That's a very nice UX change that allows you to stay in the client and allows you to do this on devices as well. So that's actually what I had planned for the platform. And now I will point to the developer guy, which is Jesper, that will come and talk about developer stuff.
Development.
Yes.
So thank you so much. We work from the user guy, the accountant guy, the platform guy, I'm the developer guy. I guess I'm the only one who allows you to create blogs. So how many of you in this room are developers? Please raise your hand. Yeah! So you've been waiting for me, right? That's cool. So I'll see if I can live up to those expectations. So I'm going to talk a little bit about extensions too. I did share some of that on stage in the keynote yesterday. So, but let me first just get a little bit of...
I believe that with Dynamics 365, we will be able to increase our market share. It will attract more customers and increase our revenue. I think once customers realize the power of it, they'll want it.
If you look to Dynamics 365, the biggest opportunity is that you get a platform that will be always up to date from Microsoft. For low price, you can purchase it and can add value. For micro verticals, we might even not think about it right now.
There were two things that we wanted to achieve with this extension for Visual Studio Code. The first part is we needed to make a vehicle for people to write extensions, like a customization for the product, but they're packaged in a way so that it's easy for us to upgrade and manage them and easy for you to work with them as well. So you can build and deploy and test all in one environment, and that's really neat the way that works. The second thing you can do is that for our customers who are running a Dynamics 365 business solution, they themselves can go in and make changes to how the product looks and feels and behaves.
You can focus on using the application itself, and so you don't have to worry about the infrastructure, about setting up the application or any servers.
When I first saw tools for Dynamics 365, I was very impressed. It feels like home to be in Visual Studio Code. I like how fast we can publish and see the immediate impact of what I've just worked on.
It looks modern. I think it will benefit the community because it looks and feels and works more like traditional development tools. There'll be less of a learning curve coming to Visual Studio Code from other languages, and will help us to be very productive in developing business apps.
The coolest features in the development tools that we've seen have definitely got to be IntelliSense. There's a very low learning curve where we can get an idea and start to type something out, and it can fill in the rest of the blanks for us. And something else that helps out really nicely are the snippets. So the snippets, you quite literally type in T and maybe trigger or something else, and it gives you a whole block of code that you don't have to remember syntax.
I really love working with the new development environment because this is a paradigm shift of how we work with it. You can use version control, you can use integration with the whole development environment as you wanted to. So this will result in a lot faster, more efficient, better work.
Now Microsoft has this offer that says if you have a business idea, we have the tools, we have the platform, and we have the marketplace. Everything you need to get your business idea out there is something you can do with Dynamics 365.
We are so excited about the things that we are creating in terms of modernizing the whole development experience. Visual Studio Code is just such a big leap forward in terms of that experience. It's just so much more modern and so much more attractive to millennium developers than the world we came from. So this is really, I think you cannot understand how important I think this is for the future of moving forward. Also, the Visual Studio Code is used by millions of developers each month. We just see that those numbers grow and grow and grow. And we've managed to make, IntelliSense, a lot of the things that you would expect from a modern development tool, we managed to put that in there, and we managed to make Visual Studio Code speak AL. And we are even extending the AL language. So of course, with anything new, there are also some things that are changing, and even some things some limitations that we are introducing. Because as we're moving to extensions 2.0, we're also moving to multi-tenanted, online, cloud-based environment. And some of the things that you were used to do on an on-premise environment, such as being able to call out to .NET if you needed to do some things that are more appropriate or more easy to do in a .NET kind of language environment, of .NET framework, we cannot just allow those. But we have a number of strategies, and we're pursuing a number of strategies to try and eliminate as much of the limitations that we have imposed on you. And I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes just talking about those. One of the strategies we are pursuing is the strategy of .NET replacement. So we're putting in capabilities right into the AL language that you would otherwise maybe historically have been done on a .NET. So you'll be able to do things like HTTP client to call out to web services from right within AL language. We're adding JSON, the opportunity to manage JSON objects, and the opportunity to work with XML. We're adding lists, dictionary, string build, those kind of capabilities we're building into the AL language. So you can do some of the things there right inside of AL, and of course using the tools of Visual Studio Code. There will also be instances where you want to do some things that you cannot do in AL. Another strategy that we are pursuing and that we are suggesting is start thinking about the development environment as being the whole cloud. Whatever is out there, whatever capabilities there's there in Azure, you can think about using them. Because now the platform is not the computer that runs in someone's basement. Now the platform is the whole internet. The platform is the Azure capabilities. And one of those capabilities that we're really excited about and we think are relevant, not in all scenarios, but in some scenarios where you want to do more, is Azure functions. With Azure functions, you can use .NET, you can use some of the other tools out there to create some functionality that way. So you'll call out to Azure function, it'll do the work for you, and it'll return.
Will that work on an on-prem?
Excuse me?
Will that work on an on-prem?
Well, if you have access to the internet from on-prem, you can use Azure functions. Of course, you don't have Azure functions on a local server, but you still have Azure functions in Azure. So it becomes a question of architecture. It becomes a question of, maybe I can add a little bit of that. So don't do it for each or an Azure function. Don't start, calling Azure function 1,000 times. That's not going to be efficient. Not even on the web. Although it's only about, I think we measured to about 30 milliseconds when it get up and running for the millisecond latency. I still would not suggest that. Use Azure function more like I need to do something, call it out, and it'll get something back to you. So think about it and investigate. There's a question out there.
Yes. What's the price of running? Because you have to pay for that, right?
You have to pay for Azure Function, but the neat thing about Azure Function is you don't have to have a server running all the time and pay for that server just running. Azure Function you pay per
call?
Per call, yeah.
How much? Do you know?
I don't recall, but you can do quite a lot with a little. So, but you have to look up those prices online. Yes, please.
So Azure functions are great, but I think in all the talk about this, nobody talks about how to authenticate. So when a NAT user or a 365 user calls an Azure function, how does the Azure function validate the user?
So let's take that offline because those are questions you need to answer, of course, as you build your. Yeah. So this is an overview, so we'll have to take that one offline because it becomes too long an answer. So basically this is another strategy. It's not the only strategy. There will be cases where this is not the right thing to do. Maybe it doesn't fit into what you're trying to accomplish. So we're also creating this CAL open library. This is a way for you to collaborate with us. So you create some pull requests, some requests of some functionality you would like to get into the AL language. You would like to become available as part of the platform. And we'll look at it. We're not going to guarantee that we're going to put it into the next release, but we'll definitely look at it. The thing is to try to create a much tighter relationship with you as developers and our monthly cycle of updates. So those are just some of the things that we're doing. I do want to add mention a couple of things related to Extensions 2.0 because we are moving to an Extensions 2.0 world. Anyone in here has Extensions 1.0 projects that hasn't been published yet but is on its way? Anyone working on an Extension 1.0 project? Okay, I would really suggest you move to Extension 2.0, okay? I'm glad there's only one hand there, actually. So, because as of December 1st, we're no longer going to be accepting the Extension 1.0. The original time for this was October, but we listened to some of you, gave us some feedback, there's some things we needed to do, so we postponed that to December. So anyone here has Extensions 1.0 already in production? Okay, well, So then you don't care about the lab bullet, because that was going to say is by Q1, we really like you to upgrade those to Extension 2.0. Okay. Anyone building something in Extension 2.0? Okay. Yeah, now you are, right? Sorry, maybe joking with that. So there's some other sessions that yeah, I would suggest you might. Okay, we'll go into some more of these details. So of course there are also scenarios where Extension 2.0 will just not cut it. Maybe Klaus, you want to add something here because this is kind of joined a little bit. The way we look at it is, you know, it's all just app. I think Marco alluded to this yesterday. It's an app if you build something in Extension 2.0 and publish that. We're also going to make it an app if you have something where you actually need to do some changes inside the base application. Then we're going to enable you to publish that as an app as well. And there's a town hall where we maybe will be getting into more detail. I don't know if you want to add something about this.
Well, we want to enable you to move to the cloud with us in the fastest way possible, and what's faster than being able to take your existing application database and move that into Dynamics 365. So that's really what it's about. And obviously there will be rules and limitations as to what you can do on those application clusters, but we want to enable you to move to the cloud with us as quickly as possible.
Okay, thank you. So we'll talk more about that in the town hall. We'll both be there downtown. So I just want to, I know we're trying, but we also start a little late. So, you know, please allow me a couple of more minutes here. I want to share something with you about how you can get hold of the newest bits, the new development bits, and the latest environment, because we're making some changes there. Right now, you know, getting the Extension 2.0 development environment, etc., has been something related. You go to an Azure gallery and then you'll use that. We're evolving that to something I think is much more flexible and much faster to work with. So let me explain this way. So I'm not saying this date is the right one, but around November we expect there's going to be a November release of the development environment that's going to be what we call a slow release. That means it's still sort of a preview, but as we release the November release, we will be also deleting. November 1st, we'll also release the October release as a stable release. So we'll have like a month -1 on the stable development environment. Is there a question? No. Okay. We'll also be giving you access to bi-weekly releases, and then some of the features might be added be stated as preview, even though they're part of the stable release. But I think the big thing here is the release mechanism for this is going to be container-based, it's going to be Docker-based. That means that you'll be able to get access to these bits quite fast. You'll be able to run multiple versions on your same machine without disrupting your computer. As some of you know, my Dockers are not they're very much like virtual machines, but they don't have the overhead of virtual machines. You don't have to have the overhead and operating system for each instance. You can just put that in a container. There are some sessions about this that I would really suggest that you look into, because this is really something that we're excited about. Okay, I think time is up. So the only thing I want to mention at the end is this is our new Microsoft Ready program. Take a picture of this, and this is a program where you will be able to get access to these latest bits, and we'll set up a frequency of calls. We will share information with you. This is also the community or the place where you can provide your feedback, and it will also be where you can make requests back to us about your extensibility needs. And I think with that we are 4 minutes over, so I'll wrap up.